Hello everyone, this hour on Verbling, the next in my Great Short Stories series. We're working on short story 20. This one is a very short, mysterious, and interesting short story. This is, let me get to the title, Report on the Shadow Industry by Peter Carey, an Australian writer. We're going to, well, we'll talk about it. It's very short, so we're going to dive right into the story after the introduction. So first, a little bit about me. I'm Jon-Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up, which means please turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom quiet. Tune in to the new words you're learning when you are speaking so I can correct you and give you feedback. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. So that's a bit about me. Hopefully there's no trouble with the Hangouts today. The other day was really rough. So, I guess everyone can hear me okay, right? Everything good with the sound? Yes?
Yes, it's true.
Okay, fantastic. Let's start by saying hello to, let's see, do I know you all? I do. Mauro, nice to see you again. Hello.
Nice to see you again.
Okay, Raphael, hello. How are you?
Hello, teacher. I'm fine, thank you.
Fantastic. And Luo, are you feeling better?
Oh yes, I think I'm feel better now.
Good.
Thank you.
I was worried. So, Luo and everyone, here's what I'm going to do. This is a really short story. So what we're going to do is, it's a short and mysterious story. So what we're going to do is probably read it once in this class and read it again between classes and discuss it more in the second class on Thursday, because it's short, but it packs in a lot of meaning in just a few paragraphs. So first, I'm just going to give you the link, as always, in the chat window. Whoops. Okay. So if you don't have it open, of course I'll share it with you, but if you don't have it open for any reason, just click on the link there. All right. Okay, and welcome, Yuki. Nice to see you.
Hi. How's everything?
Okay, very good, very good. And look who it is. Long time no see. Now, I know it's written trustee, but I think you said your name was different before, if I remember right. Trustee, is that your real name? I think you told me it was something else.
Yes, hello.
It's been like a year, hasn't it?
Yes, hello, teacher. I think it's
time.
been. Yes. Yes.
But remind
I wanted
me,
to say that. Long time no see. Yes.
But remind me, what do I call you? Because I don't remember calling you trustee. Well, what do I call you?
I remember that you called me trustee, and
I did?
that's
Okay.
what I prefer.
Oh, okay, fine. For some reason, I thought you said it was your... okay, never mind, fine. That's what I'll call you. So, if you don't have the link open...
It's my nickname.
Oh, it's cool. No problem. If you don't have the link open, if you don't see it, take a look there in the group chat, okay? And you can open this, or we'll just read it off the screen, everyone. Okay. This is so short that I'm not going to interrupt, except I've put in a few activities in the story. So there'll be kind of 3 interludes, as I call them. They'll be short, but they're there to get you to think about something important that happened in the story. So we're going to start off right here before we even begin reading. You've got links, you've got the table of content, but here I've got a little warm-up activity. Look at the words in the shape below. That shape might look familiar to you. You'll see in just a second. Choose the 3 words which for you best capture the meaning of the word shadow. If you don't think the words are suitable, add some of your own. So we've got dark, ghost, image, sunshine, illusion, fear, mystery, ominous, light, fun, shade, emptiness. Okay? I want you to tell me, let's just spend a minute and think about this. Which of these words seem appropriate to you when you think of the word shadow? Speak freely. Say again?
Ominous for me.
Ominous. Really?
Really.
Why? Are you afraid of shadows?
I have a black. I have a dirty black image from shadow. It reminds me evil.
Evil.
Ill.
Ill.
And something wrong, something awful, something.
Oh. I think you have a very literary. You have a very literary idea of shadows, Yuki. Don't fear the shadow. Don't fear.
Yes, I try to not fear shadow.
Some other ideas. So for Yuki, it's ominous. Trustee, what about you? Which of those words seems best to describe your innate, immediate reaction to the word shadow? What comes to mind?
The first thing, it's dark. If I want to tell you something, it's only a dark thing for me. Another one that I want to add is coolness, or I don't know, cool weather. Because when it is hot, in the middle of the noon, you can go under a tree's shadow, and it's very cool.
Cool. Okay. Okay, so for you, shadow is not such a bad thing. It's got a positive image, a positive feeling too, right?
Not positive, not negative.
I think we have a delay.
I don't have any.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
I hear you.
Yes.
I don't know who's delayed, me or Trustee. So not positive and not negative. Okay, very good. And okay, and any other ideas? Rafael, Luo, Maru?
Night. If I think of shadow, I will think of the night because you know the movie is art of the night and the shadow. Someone said.
Ah, yeah. Because
the picture, the photograph, and something like that.
Yeah, because before there were movies, there was something called shadow plays, where you could cast a silhouette against a screen, and everyone, oh, I think we just lost Luo. Oh, maybe a connection problem. And everyone could look at the shape you were creating in a silhouette, kind of like when you're a kid and you shine a flashlight on your hands and you try to make a rabbit and a bird with your shadow. So the shadow play is kind of a precursor to cinema, where you could project a shadow on the wall. Sounds good. So the art of light and shadow. Very good. And anyone else?
Yeah, for me it's related with illusion too, and mystery, and also the dark side of everyone, the shadows that you can have in the background. You can.
Yeah, we cast shadows. So everyone casts a shadow. Rather than have, we use the word cast. That's a good idea, right? Because again, we've got another. You and Yuki have literary ideas. So there's the person, but then there's this image of the person, like a negative image of a person, you know, that everyone casts in the sunlight, as if you're two people, the light side and the dark side. Okay, very good. I hope you don't have a dark side, Raphael.
Yeah, I have a lot of. Ask everyone.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm afraid of
You don't
Raphael
have
now. I'm
anyone. You don't
afraid.
have anyone to know that.
Oh no. And Moro, what about you?
Well, I think it's uh, illusion, for example, mystery and ghost too. Well, I think because I like to read Jack the Ripper book, Whitechapel book, and so on, and I think a ghost, the shadow of ghost, the illusion of the person of the a shadow, a large shadow, or a very short shadow. It's a deformation of reality. I think a mystery. Well, because I like mystery. This is the three word that I brainstorming with shape with shadow word.
Okay, very good, very good. I want you to keep all these ideas in mind, okay?
Okay.
Keep them all in mind as we read the story. Because the shadow industry, it would be too easy to say it's just a metaphor. I think it is a metaphor, but to say it's a metaphor for just one thing. So we've got to keep all these in mind. By the way, when I say metaphor, what I mean is um, if something is literal, right? If I say, I mean literally go away, don't go away. But I'm saying if I say I mean literally go away, I mean I want you to get up and walk away from me. Literal. In other words, it's exactly what I'm saying. But of course, if I say metaphor, there'll be some second meaning, some hidden meaning inside. All right? Just because, if that's clear, trustee. So literal means exactly what the word says, nothing else. And metaphorical, um, or if there's more meaning, often there'll be a second meaning, a hidden meaning, something that sometimes is only understood in the culture. It might not be obvious to foreigners, right? So literal is exactly what the word means. Metaphorical means a second meaning, a hidden meaning. Well, we'll talk about this more in a moment. We're going to jump right into the reading now. Okay, we'll get back to that question too. So here's what we're going to do. I didn't really divide these up very well, so I'll just try to assign. I'll try to give everyone a chance for equal reading. Yuki, why don't you start us off with the first two paragraphs in one? Then we'll go Trustee, Raphael, Moro, and Luo. I'll try to get everyone equal. Go ahead, Yuki.
Okay. Report on the Shadow Industry by Peter Carey. My friend S went to live in America 10 years ago, and I still have a letter he wrote me when he first arrived, wherein he describes the shadow factories that were springing up on the west coast, that effect they were having on that society. You see people in dark glasses wandering around the supermarket at 2 a.m. There were great boxes all along the aisles, some of expensive as $50, but most of them are only $5. There's always Muzak. It gives me the shit more than the shadows.
I forgot there's some bad language here. Sorry about that.
Sorry,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry for bad word. The people don't look at one another. They come to browse through the boxes of shadows, although the packets give no indication of what's inside. It really depresses me to think of people going out at 2 in the morning because they need to try their luck with a shadow. Last week, I was in the supermarket near Topanga. and I saw an old man toward the end of the shadow box. He was arrested almost immediately. What is the shadow box like?
It's a very good question.
Very,
by the way, just
strange.
Just 2 points about the words. Your pronunciation was good for aisles. But could you think of a synonym for aisles? Because some people might not recognize that word.
I think synonym aisle is corridor.
Corridor, yeah, corridor, hallway. In a shopping center, in a supermarket, the aisles have the food. You got to go down the aisle to do your shopping. So hallway, corridor, passageway.
One passage, narrow passage.
Exactly.
Passageway.
And music. Do you know what that is?
Music reminds me of the Russian word music. But here I think another meaning. Maybe it is background music in the supermarket. No?
Exactly. It's bad background music. It's sort of, you don't hear it anymore because when I was growing up, so kind of like in the 70s and early 80s, you'd hear this kind of
shitty music.
Yeah.
Pop music.
Yeah. Elevator music. Elevator music. Like
1918s.
Yeah. But not really pop
Duran? Something kind of.
No. No. Actually, Duran is not that bad. No, it's not that. It's music where they didn't have to pay the license for. It's kind of like you buy this big CD, or they didn't have CDs back then. You buy these big cassettes, and the music is by no one in particular, and it's elevator music. It's right. So this story is old, not that old, but a bit old. And nowadays you'd hear pop music because they can sell it cheaply. But back then, you'd hear
kind of easy listening music.
Exactly, easy listening. That's it. Okay, we're not going to discuss the story till we get to the interlude. Okay, but you'll see. So just keep your questions. Unless there's a question about the meaning of something, in which case you can ask. Okay, so trustee, we're going to go on to the next. You take the 2 paragraphs for us. Okay.
Okay. No. More than the shadows, right? The people, or no?
Right. Yes, strange letter.
A strange letter.
A strange letter 10 years ago, but it accurately describes senses that have since become common in this country. Yesterday I drove in from the airport past shadow factory after shadow factory. Large faceless buildings gleaming in the sun, their secrets guarded by ex-policemen with Alsatian dogs.
Alsatian.
Enough?
Alsatian dogs.
Alsatian dogs.
Huh? Keep going.
Okay. The shadow factories have huge chimneys that reach far into the sky. Chimneys which blow forth a smoke of different brilliant colors. It is said by some of my more cynical friends that the smoke... Cynical friends? Cynical friends that the smoke has nothing to do with any manufacturing process and is merely a trick. Fake evidence that technological miracles are being formed within the factories. The popular belief is that the smoke sometimes contains the most powerful shadows of all. Those that are too large and powerful to be packaged. It's a common sight to see old women standing for hours outside the factories, staring into the smoke.
Can you picture this in your mind as we read? Can everyone sort of see these images of old women staring into the shadows from the chimneys? You've got to visualize this. Just a quick question, Trustee. Cynical friends. Cynical friends. Is that clear what it means?
No, I don't know the meaning of cynical.
Does anyone want to try to give an example of a cynical friend or a cynical person for Trustee?
Cynical friend likes to say a joke, but very in cold way.
Cold, okay,
Yes.
yeah. So someone who's not sentimental,
Yes.
maybe.
Yes. Maybe yes. Maybe sneering.
Sneering, good word. Absolutely.
Yes. Maybe he is not willing to believe that people is good.
Well, that's the key idea, isn't it? About
Honest.
belief.
Yes,
Yeah. It's a person who doesn't believe in people. A person who doesn't believe in the goodness of other people. Doesn't believe in the surface of things. Does that make sense, Trustee? A person who doesn't really believe that other people are good, so they're cynical. They always take the pessimistic view of things. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes, totally.
All right, very good. So, I think, Raphael, we're approaching our interlude, but I think, yeah, you're going to take the last paragraph before our first break here, where it says, there are.
There are a few who say the smoke is dangerous because of carcinogenic chemicals used in the manufacture of shadows. Others argue that the shadow is a natural product and by its very nature chemically pure. They point to the advantages of the smoke, the beautifully colored patterns in the clouds which serve as a reminder of the happiness to be obtained from a fully realized shadow. There may be some merit in the last argument, for on cloudy days the skies above our city are wondrous sight, full of blues and vermilions and brilliant greens, with pick out strange patterns and shapes in the clouds. Others say the clouds now contain the dreadful beauty of the apocalypse.
Wow. The dreadful beauty of the apocalypse. By the way, just one word. Carcinogenic. Repeat that.
Carcinogenic.
You have to say sin. Carcinogenic.
Carcinogenic.
Right. In other words, something that causes what?
Cancer.
Cancer. Exactly. When I read this passage and it says the vermilions and brilliant greens and blues, for me, what comes to mind is when you're looking in a puddle on the side of the road, like a dirty road, and it's polluted. On the surface of the water, you see these really beautiful colors, but it's coming from oil, so it's kind of the colors of dirt, of filth, but it comes from like the oil in the road. But reflected in the light, they're very brilliant colors. That's what I picture. So you can sort of picture looking into the sky and seeing those colors like you might see kind of in the side of the road or something like that. I'm hearing a computer start. Where is that? Maybe that's on my side. Liz, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a short interlude. I've got some questions. These are your opinion, okay? So you tell me what you think. Hold on just a second here. Let me share my screen for that, actually. Interlude 1. True or false in your opinion? So let's get some ideas from the group based on what you've heard so far. Well, let's go around and read them and say what we think. Actually, let's do it like that. So I think Moro, you're going to be reading next, but you're the next to speak. So read number 1 for us.
The number one, the shadow industry probably started in America.
What do you think? True or false?
It's not true. It's not true. I think it started in America and in Europe, in Asia, in Japan. I think it's my idea. Well,
It's a global conspiracy.
yeah, well, it's an Orwellian situation.
Ah, Orwellian, meaning
Yeah,
something like 1984.
yeah, the book.
Okay, very good. And by the way, everyone can chime in here if you have an opinion, okay? I'm going to call on people to read, but we can talk about these as a class.
What
So,
obscure and cynical question it is? First question.
Cynical, why? Tell me why.
Because someone criticized America for it very, how to say, that dirtiness of
I see.
capitalism.
Yeah, it's true. And the author is not American, by the way. He's Australian. So
maybe
makes you think.
Yes, he's from Australia. Yeah.
Yeah. But that brings to mind what the story is trying to address, what it's trying to make us think about. So is it trying to make, we're not going to get into the metaphors yet, but maybe it's trying to be a critique of what happens in a society like America. Because the shadow industry seems to have a lot to do with buying things, seems to have a lot to do with pollution, seems to have a lot to do with everyone has to sort of hide something that's being sold in public. It's very strange, isn't it?
I think shadow industry symbolizes the American mass production and mass consumption society, maybe.
So you think it's a metaphor more than anything else?
Maybe it's a metaphor for mass consumption society, maybe in America. Not only America, in Western countries.
Well, we will soon find
Western country, America, Europe, Asia, Australia. Well, we are all cynical. Sorry, I think cynical, compulsive buyer of things. Or well, I think it's a global situation. I think it's my opinion.
I agree with
your
you.
opinion.
Yes. Maybe many developed countries has such people living in developed country live a very very luxury lives. We living in mass production, mass consumption society, but many has personal problems. They feel lonely, although they have a very rich life, but I don't know.
So it's just like a shadow. There seems to be two sides to everyone because they live a life of luxury, but at the same time they're hiding something. There's a loneliness, you know. So maybe the shadow industry is the shadow cast by society over the human condition. Ooh. Luo, let's talk about the second one too. Let's read all of these quickly and then we'll kind of talk in general. Luo, could you read number 2 for us?
Yes, boxes of shadows can be bought in supermarkets.
True or false?
I think it's a metaphor. That's true.
It's true in the story, isn't it?
Oh?
Remember? In the story,
yes,
it's true,
I think
isn't
it's true in
it? We read
the story.
And yet, Someone got arrested
Yeah, it's true.
after buying a shadow. But the question is, why did they get arrested? Because there was something about shopping at 2 in the morning, and then he was seeing some woman open a shadow box at 2 in the morning after shopping, and she got arrested immediately. If it's being sold in supermarkets, how on earth, if it's legal to sell, why are people getting arrested? Am I right? I think that's what it said in the story. I have to take a look.
Maybe something happened to the person who opened the box, and the police officers thought that it may be because of that man who were there. Am I right?
Maybe. What's your idea? The police officer thought what?
The person who opened the box, maybe he or she got hurt, and the police officers
hurt.
thought,
Okay.
yes,
Oh,
maybe it's the fault of that person who was looking.
Let me just see if I can I just want to jump back there a second. Last week I saw in a supermarket near Topanga. Last week I was in a supermarket and I saw an old man tear the end off a shadow box. He was arrested almost immediately. So, I don't think anyone got hurt. Could be, but I don't think so. I think there's some kind of, to me it means that there's some kind of strange double standard. That you can buy it, but if you open it in public, if you show everyone, then that's not allowed. That's what I think. I get the feeling that as long as you consume your shadow in private, you're okay. The moment you demonstrate what you're doing to the world, that's like some kind of issue. I think
it is also the metaphor of our society. We can buy everything in supermarket. We are free. But if you break a rule of society, you will be arrested. You will be treated as a crime. Such a kind of things.
Yeah. Also,
so you can buy a black boxes. Even in the late night at 2 a.m., it is very convenient to society you live. But if you break a part of boxes, you will be arrested immediately.
Doesn't that seem like hypocrisy in some way?
No, I don't mean the hypocrisy. Just it's a common rule of our society. So we think we are free. We can do everything. But if you break a rule a little, you will be you will be how to say, arrested. You will be
punished.
Punished, yes.
Absolutely. Let's look at a few other of these before we.
Sometimes very severely punished.
Ah, I see. Well, let's look at a few other of these. Maybe we won't do all of them. But just to tell me from what we've read, if you think these are true or false based on your impression of the story. Shadows are made in factories that give off thick black smoke. True or false, class? True or false?
False.
Class?
False.
False.
False. Why false? Tell me why.
Because it was colorful.
Okay, but tell me why.
Full of colors,
because
like green.
Exactly. It's reds and vermilions and brilliant greens. So it does. Absolutely. So there's a strange kind of, even the smoke, even the pollution seems to have another side to it. It's like everything has two different contradictory aspects to it. Number 4, shadow factories have not spread to other countries. Based on the story, do you think that's true or false? Speak freely.
And there is
True.
no description about it. But,
So we don't know.
Here it is only written on the case in America. I don't know.
So we don't really know.
I think it's true.
But it sounds like Trustee thinks it's true. Do we?
Yes, I think it's true
Absolutely.
because
And
the
we could get
writer.
that sense from the story that it's widespread.
Yes, because
Go
the
ahead, yeah.
writer said, when my friend went to America, so it must be something special about being in America.
Ah, very good. Good point. I've missed that. Yeah, that's true. So we get the sense that this is written from someone living outside the United States. That's a good point. I completely forgot about that. That's the opening line of the story. Very good, actually. So, and actually that makes sense because the narrator is describing. So it's got to be true, yeah, because the narrator is describing
Yes.
watching.
His friend reported the situation in America.
Right. But
So,
he's watched people open shadow boxes, and
He
he's
wrote
probably.
that he saw the supermarket and shadow boxes and shadow factories in America.
Ah, very good. Very good.
It's true.
Very good, because I missed it.
I also
Number 5. Number 5, people think that the smoke from the factories is only for display.
True.
Yes, true. Yes.
True. It's there. You know the expression, a smoke screen, when something is there to kind of hide the truth. We call it a smoke screen. So, do you remember what they thought that the smoke was hiding in this case? Or what the smoke was there to do? What was the purpose of the smoke for those people who thought it was kind of a display?
Maybe smoke is just a camouflage.
Camouflage. Oh,
Yes,
good word.
maybe smoke. Smoke just to makes people think that something important things is manufactured in this factory. But in reality, smoke has no relation, no relation with the product produced in this factory.
Okay, very good. And then the related question is that some people think factory smoke contains very powerful shadows. True or false? Got to hear from some quiet people out there.
But
Go ahead,
I cannot get what is the difference between shadows and smoke, and I don't get the meaning of this sentence. Could you explain it, please? Because I
Sure.
Me too. What does it mean by saying shadows? Is it possible to, I don't know, take shadows in some boxes?
No, there is no description about the shadow. What is shadow is like here in this story? You have to think about it for yourself.
Yeah, it's not clear even for a
Not
native
clear.
speaker.
It's very obscure.
It seems like it's very surreal, you know, like a painting by Salvador Dali where the clocks are dripping like water. It seems very weird. How can you put a shadow, a physical? It's not a physical thing. How can you put it? Well, it's a physical thing, but you can't pick it up. How can you put it into boxes? Smoke is something that you could put in a box, right? Because it rises up in the air. You could conceivably contain it. So for some reason, so the smoke, which is dark usually, for some people think that it contains shadows. And there's an image of the old women looking at the smoke for hours or something like that. So, but we don't really know what the shadows are, not yet. But maybe by the end of the story we will. I'll tell you what. Let's move forward because it is a short story, and we'll go back to a lot of these points when we start to discuss it. So let's move forward here. The longest part was the part we just read, actually. So I think it's Mauro is the next to read, if I remember right. So you're going to pick up part 2, and then Luo, you're going to be doing part 3 for us. Go ahead,
Story
Mauro.
continues. Yeah.
It's
I
just
thought it was the end of the story. Sorry.
not yet, almost not yet.
Okay.
But it's very short. There's only a few paragraphs. Mauro, why don't you pick it up?
Yeah.
The shadows are packed.
The paragraph, the first and the second.
Yes, because it's
The
short.
first and the second. The shadows are packaged in a large, lavish boxes, which are printed with abstract designs in many colors. The Bureau of Statistics reveals that the average of householder spends 25% of his income on this expensive good, and that this percentage increases as in
Percentage, second syllable.
okay, percentage increases as the income decreases. There are those who say that the shadows are bad for people, promising an impossible happiness that can never be realized, and thus detracting from the very real beauty of nature and life. But there are others who argue that the shadows have always been with us in one form or another, and that the package shadow is necessary for mental health in advanced technological society. There is, however, research to indicate that the high suicide rate in advanced countries is connected with the popularity of shadow sales, and that there is a direct statistical correlation between shadow sales and suicide rates. This has been explained by those who hold that the shadows are merely mirrors to the soul, and that the man who stare into a shadow box see only himself, and what beauty he finds there is his own beauty. And
What beauty he finds there, you have
Yeah.
to pause between there and is. What beauty he finds there is his own.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm got lost. Where's the line number? What is it?
It's underlined. There is that's like a speech unit. What beauty
Okay.
he finds there,
There.
pause.
Okay.
So read that part again.
There. Well,
It's
mm, could you help me, because I'm got lost.
it's underlined in front of you. Look on the screen. It's underlined. See it?
Okay. Underline. And what the beauty he finds there is on beauty, and what despair he experience is born of poetry on his spirits. I'm so sorry,
Poverty.
but poetry,
Poverty.
poverty, poverty. Could you repeat me, please?
Go backwards. Say T,
Okay.
verti,
Verti.
poverty.
Poverty. Okay. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Sorry.
There you go. So we get a little bit of sociological background to the shadow industry right now. And the question is here, what contradictory information is there about shadows? We've got two boxes here, one for kind of arguments for the shadows and one for arguments against the shadows. So, Mauro and the rest of the class, give me one or two arguments for the shadows and one or two against that we've read about so far. What did you pick up from that little paragraph?
Arguments for shadow. Well, for feel better our life. improve our life. This is that I understand from the paragraph number 2.
Right?
But against shadow, well, it's not a real word. It's like a smoke shadow. I can see
Smoke
the
screen.
real. Yeah, it's a smoke screen. Yeah, I don't see the real world. I can't, or I don't want to see. It depends. If I don't want to see the real world, it's like a drug. Drug in American is like a drug. No, it's a
Yeah.
heroin and so on. Because I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
sometimes when I speak with American people, it's a drug medicine. It's a well, it's a problem. Well, I think it's like a drug. No, it's just
It,
this box. I don't want to see the real world. Well, I buy the box. The beauty is my life. It's not. It's
right, because they talk about it like a mirror. So
yeah,
some people believe that you're looking at yourself. If you don't like what you see, it's because you don't like what's inside of you, right?
yeah,
So another argument could be that you see inside yourself. I mean, that's one argument for it, actually. But at the same time, whoops, lost my space here. But at the same time, um, maybe you may not like what. So it really depends. By the way, these are just opinions, right?
I think here it is written that people who foreshadowed foreshadowed say that shadow have always been with us, and it is good for mental health.
Yeah, it's like something natural.
Yes, maybe it's prevent from high from high from increasing suicide rate.
Right.
Yes,
That's there's some connection between.
yes. In advanced countries, many countries is struggling from the high rate of suicide, but this shadow prevent prevents that.
Absolutely. So my question then is, what new feelings do you have about shadows now after reading paragraph 2? Do you feel a little differently about them? It sounds like,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
I think the shadow could be a kind of hope or illusion
Absolutely.
the government gives you, or something like that. To
It,
improve your society, to make your public services more better in the future, or something like that.
absolutely. Absolutely. And the government does seem to be involved as long as you don't use your shadow in public. Because when you do, you get arrested. But yeah, it seems to have a lot to do with illusion versus reality, looking inside and seeing either beauty or despair. So I like this last line that whatever experience you have, it seems to be born of your spirit, poverty of the spirit. So whatever despair you find is born of poverty of the spirit, it says. In other words, if you yourself, um, spirit here can be taken in many different forms, or many different meanings here. So it could be how you feel, spirit. If you're in high spirits, you feel good. It could be spiritual, right? It's got many different meanings. Let's think about that. Luo, you're going to take paragraph 3 for us, 3 out of 5. It's a little bit long, actually. So I think you're going to do the first half of 3, and then we'll go back to Yuki, and we'll probably finish the story after that. So why don't you take the first half, Luo, this part here.
From first paragraph to I missed something. To which?
The part in blue.
I visited my mother. Duo.
Okay, okay. I visited my mother at Christmas. She lives along with her dogs in a poor part of town. Knowing her weakness for shadows, I bought her several of the more expensive varieties, which she retired to
Variety.
examine in varieties,
Variety.
varieties which
Good.
varieties, which she retired to examine in the privacy of the shadow room. She stayed in the room for such a long time that I became worried about knocking on the door. She came out almost immediately. When I saw her face, I knew the shadow had not been good ones. "I'm sorry," I said, but she kissed me quickly and began to tell me about a neighbor who had won the lottery. I myself know, only too well, the disappointment of shadow boxes, for I also have a weakness in that direction. For me, it's something of a guilty secret, something that would not be approved of by my clever friends. Should I
Isn't
continue?
that interesting? So,
Interesting. I'll
uh,
continue.
yeah, we're back to Yuki here.
I saw Jay in the street that she teaches at the university. Uh-huh, she said knowingly, tap,
Tapping.
taping, tapping the bulky parcel I had hidden under my coat. I know she will make capital of this discovery. A little piece of gossip to use at the dinner parties she's so fond of. Fond of. Sorry. Yes, I suspect that she too has a weakness for shadows. She confessed that much to me some years ago during that strange misunderstanding she still likes to call our affair. It was she who hinted at the feeling of emptiness that awful despair that comes when one has failed to grasp the shadow.
Wow.
Wow.
So, what do you think his relationship is with this woman,
Mm.
if you had to guess? Is she a good friend? Do you get the feeling that she's a good friend?
Um, I see. I think she's his lover. No?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
she was. Maybe
She
she
was.
was, yeah.
Yeah, she was. Yes.
A-
Now,
And now, how are they doing together? Are they good friends?
no. Now they have. mm, the, mm,
The man has got a negative opinion about his wife.
hmm?
I'm listening.
Okay, for example, you can get it from this sentence. I suspect that she too has weaknesses for shadows. It's a totally negative sentence.
Absolutely. So, well, why do you think? What do you think he's trying to say about her? What do you think she's trying to say about her with that sentence? You're right. It's very negative.
He's talking to his mom and he wants to say, I don't know, maybe they are separating or getting divorced. I'm not sure.
Hmm. Well, he's seen in his mother that there can be very bad experiences from the shadow, but he also has a weakness just like her. And then when he sees someone else who's supposed to be, she's a university professor, she teaches at the university, yet she seems to give him this condescending, aha, she says knowingly. He suspects that she's a hypocrite. She's just as weak as he is. I think that's what he's trying to say. She will make capital of this discovery. In other words, she's going to make a very big deal out of it. Um, let's see here if we have time just to read 4. Give me just a second. Yes, we do. Trustee, you're going to read 4. We're going to read 4 and 5. Yeah, let's try it. Let's see if we can read the last 2 paragraphs, and then we're going to discuss it on Thursday in the next class. Let's see if we can just do the last 2 paragraphs before we run totally out of time here. Okay, Trustee, take it from my own father.
Okay, I will read it fast. My own father left home because of something he had seen in a box of shadows. It wasn't an expensive box, either. Quite the opposite, a little surprise my mother had bought with the money, left over from her housekeeping. He opened it after dinner one Friday night and he was gone before I came down for breakfast on the Saturday. He left a note which my mother only showed me very recently. My father was not good with words and had trouble communicating with what he had seen. Words cannot express it what I feel because of the things I saw in the box of shadows you bought me.
What would you think if that was the note left on the table before your father left? What would you think about that?
I don't know.
You might expect something a little bit more personal than that. Words cannot express it. What I feel because of the things I saw in the box of shadow you bought me. You bought me. Sounds like he's blaming his family. Sounds like it.
Mhm.
Listen, everyone. I'm going to let you do interlude 3 on your own, forming opinions, and you can read the last paragraph. It's just a sentence long. We're going to discuss it using the discussion questions at the bottom of the page. So it's worthwhile reading the whole story again and thinking about it. There's a lot going on. Okay? I'll be back in just a minute to start the business class, but we will definitely have a long and fruitful discussion on Thursday. So try activity 3, look at the discussion questions as well, and if you like, read the story a second time, and we'll talk about it in the next Great Short Stories class on Thursday. I'll be back in just a moment. Bye for now, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye bye. And type break news in the chat.